Good morning. Notes for today. Again, like all of these notes, I think it's up to you if you write them down. I'm really not giving you pages in your toolkit anymore because these are actually review topics. But I will tell you that if you want to look back at the notes we already took earlier this year on page 53 in your toolkit. We took notes on solving equations. Today, I'm just going to show you a little kind of trick that you can do if you have an equation that has parentheses, like the two examples I wrote here. There's a bit of a shortcut that you can take. So, looking at these two, we'll start with this top one. This says 3 times the quantity, that's how you read that parenthesis, of x plus 2 is equal to 15. So that means we're going to take that 3 and multiply it times each term in the parentheses to get rid of the parentheses. That's normally how we would go about solving this problem. So this first one I'm going to solve two ways because I'm going to show you the cool shortcut. So typically with a distributive property problem like this, it means we're taking the 3 times each term in the parentheses. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times positive 2 is positive 6 is equal to 15. So now we did the multiplication, so parentheses are gone. Now we go about our standard solving technique of isolating the variable. That means we want to get x by itself right there, so we're getting rid of everything else. So first step is to undo addition and subtraction. Opposite of adding is subtracting 6. And so 6 minus 6 is 0. That's gone. 3x is remaining. And 15 subtract 6 is 9. So we have done the first step. Now we undo the multiplication by doing the opposite of multiply, which is divide by 3, divide by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1, and that is gone. X remains. 9 divided by 3 is 3, and there's a solution. Now, that's the way I showed you how to do these problems earlier this year. Multiply through to eliminate the parentheses, and then use our undoing steps to solve. Now, here's the cool trick, and this only works sometimes, so don't get too excited. It works on these two problems that I'm showing you, though. Okay, when you look at the problem, we have really two terms. We have 3 times x plus 2, that's all one term, and we have the 15. And we want that 3 really to not be there. And the way that we're getting rid of the 3 over here, whoops, I am on erase instead of write. The way that we're getting rid of the 3 over there is by multiplying it through, so the parentheses are gone and the 3 kind of joins up with the x. But if we look over here at the other side of the equation, the 15, right? Well, 3 and 15 do have a relationship. I can divide 15 by 3. And so here's the tricky part. If I divide both sides of the equation by 3, okay, well, 3 divided by 3 right here is 1, and 1 times x, change color back, is just x, and 1 times 2 is 2. So basically, once that's a 1 in front of the parentheses, we don't need to worry about it because when we multiply by 1, nothing changes. 15 divided by 3 is 5, and so now I have the problem x plus 2 is equal to 5. I'm going to continue solving that by undoing that plus 2. The opposite of adding 2 is subtracting 2. Subtract 2. And that makes a lovely 0 pair. X is by itself, which is what I wanted, and 5 subtract 2 is 3. Hey, there's my solution, which is the same solution, which it should be because it's the same problem. Okay, I just used this shortcut method of dividing, so it saved me a little work, right? I did two steps technically, but it took the numbers smaller faster, which seems like a good thing. So you can do these problems either way. Again, this is the exact same problem done in two different ways. I just used that dividing step to simplify first because I could. Now, that doesn't work. If this number over here, do a little highlighting here, not that. No, sorry. If this number right here had been not divisible by 3. If that had been 16 or 20, then I couldn't use this method. But it was divisible by 3, so I could. So if we look at the next problem down here, I've got 4 times n minus 3 equals 12. So first thing I want to do is ask myself, hey, is 12 divisible by 4? And it is. And when I say divisible, I mean without a remainder. So I'm going to do the problem the same way I did the one up above, and that is divide both sides by 4 to eliminate that, because any number divided by itself is 1, which means I just have n minus 3 here is equal to 12 divided by 4 is 3. And now I've got a pretty simple problem to continue solving there. Okay, my next step is to undo the subtraction. Opposite would be to add, because that makes a 0 pair. And so our solution, n is by itself. 3 plus 3 is 6. And I'm done with that problem, right? N is equal to 6. Okay, so I use the shortcut method on both of these problems because it would work. Again, it all depends on this number being divisible by that number on the outside of the parenthesis. If it's not, then you have to go through the steps that we did over here, right? We should get the same solution. And remember, if we actually wanted to check our work, which I know you're not big on, you can take our solution, 6, replace the n with 6, and make sure it works. Now we have 6 subtract 3 is 3. 4 times 3 is 12, and 12 is equal to 12. So how about that? The answer is 6. That was actually correct. Wow, I did it right. Okay, so I know in the IXL that I'm assigning today, there are some problems like this. Good news is they're going to give you a hint on what to do. It's telling you what the step is. You just have to write in the in-between parts. So go see how you do.